Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, you fantastic people wherever you are. Welcome to Chibi Reads Reddit. I'm your host, DoomChibi99. Today's subreddit is r/mother-in-laws from hell. So sit back, get cozy, grab a drink, and let's read. She took the baby from my child and said she was a horrible sister. I got 4 kids. We're gonna call them Scout, 17 male, Rambo, 15 male, Baby Girl, 13 female, and Bubba, 3-week-old male. Scout is barely home and rather would go out and hang out by the Beltline with his friends. Rambo spends a lot of time in his room playing video games, talking to his friends, watching movies, eating snacks. Baby Girl spends time out of her room to help with Bubba while I'm trying to clean, cook, work, do my hair, and work out, etc. Bubba is a very good, quiet baby, so all she really does is just play with him. Baby Girl decided that she wanted her baby brother to be smart before he turns 1. I told her that's not quite how babies work. She said she'll prove me wrong. Baby Girl is learning so many different languages now because of it. She's learning Spanish, French, and German right now. She'll say, I love you, Beck, in Spanish, Te amo, Baba, in French, Je t'aime, Baba, and in German, sorry if I mispronounced this, Ich liebe dich, Baba. I think it's so sweet. She bought these baby flashcards of numbers, letters, words in Spanish and English. I was so confused in a good way. Every time she comes home from school, she'll grab him and she'll sit down on the couch and she'll put him in her lap and let him see the card and she'll say the word, color, letter, or item. My husband thinks it's funny because he thinks babies can't learn. But I think Baby Girl might have a good idea. My mother-in-law came by the other day and she saw what Baby Girl was doing and she took Bubba from her. She told Baby Girl that what she was doing was wrong and that she was being a terrible sister. I asked her what she was doing wrong and she said that a baby needs to learn how to latch, roll over, sit up, crawl, walk, talk, and eat, not look at some learning cards. Baby Girl was so sad that she couldn't help but cry. I told my mother-in-law to give Baby Girl back the baby, and she told me no. And then my husband took the baby and gave him back to Baby Girl, and then told his mom to leave, and she stuck the middle finger at Jamie, and I almost threw my flip-flops at her for doing it, but I didn't want to cause an accident by accident. And we have a top comment here by user Spoodlat. Your mother-in-law is a horrible person. There are studies out there that show that if you're going to teach someone a new language, the best time to do it is when they're young, because they don't know the difference and they soak it up like a sponge. Your baby girl is onto something and is a smart cookie. Next time a flip-flop should just come out randomly flying at mother-in-law. Oh, I can hear good old JR now in a WWE meme. Is it? By God! By God! Chocolate out of nowhere! Dear husband forced mother-in-law and stepfather-in-law to leave. Mother-in-law and stepfather-in-law came for a visit. I told my dear husband that I couldn't handle being around her because it had been a stressful week with our kids and that I was going to make the opportunity to go do my own thing for the afternoon. He was totally supportive. I left to do my own thing once mother-in-law and stepfather-in-law arrived. About 30 minutes before I got home, I got a text from my dear husband saying that he had to kick them out. Apparently, it was time for them to go to they were supposedly had an appointment in the area, which is why they stopped by to visit. My mother-in-law insisted that she couldn't leave because dear husband couldn't handle taking care of our 2 children and demanding to know where I was. After telling her nicely 3 or 4 times that he could handle everything and that he parents them alone sometimes and knows what he's doing, etc., she continued to insist on staying until I got home. He finally looked at her and said, No, you need to leave. You need to stop telling me what you're going to do in my house and you both need to leave. This resulted in her screaming in front of our kids. She also does this annoying thing where she talks to us through our kids. For example, during this argument, she kept talking to my son saying, Sorry, sweetie, Daddy is saying that I have to go. It's not my fault. Daddy's making me go, etc. She has since tried to invite herself over twice. Dear husband told her that we will not be seeing her until Thanksgiving, and she is super pissed. Mostly just need to vent to people who get it. And we have a top comment here by Novel Ad 1943. Props to you for taking your own space, and to dear husband for responding well to mother-in-law trying to take over in your guys' home. I hope he sees how manipulative and damaging it is for her to try and talk through the kids like that. Great boundary, but no visits until Thanksgiving. Interesting that she tried to posture and stick around until you got back, but so glad that she was invited to leave. Nothing can be logically anyway projected as your fault because you weren't there and had nothing to do with it. Mother-in-law won't let me talk to my husband. Updated in comments. The situation is very complicated, so I'm just trying to get the necessary details out here. Also being vague to protect people's identities. My husband and I have been married for just under a year and are currently long distance. The plan was for him to move to my country after his job contract ended. His entire family, but especially his mother, are narcissists and don't want him to move away. We are, so I thought, making plans for the big move, but mother-in-law kept telling my husband false things about my country, including that he wouldn't be able to get medical treatment. Eventually, the narcs wore him down, and he said that he will not move to my country. Due to previous abuse by my in-laws, I went no contact with them. My husband always chose his family's wants over me. When he said he wasn't going to move here as promised because his family told him not to, I told him we might as well get a divorce since he cares about them more than us. I found a marriage counselor and sent him a text asking when would be a good time to book an appointment. He never responded. It's been over a week and I haven't heard from him. He won't answer my calls or texts. This is very unlike him. In my gut, I know his parents are coaching him, telling him not to contact me until I reach out to them to ask permission for my husband to call me. They are still upset I blocked them on one platform for my own mental health. TLDR, my narcissistic mother-in-law is upset that I blocked her, so when my husband told her about our marriage problems, she told him to ignore me until I apologized for my behavior towards her. Mother-in-law is gatekeeping my husband. And we have a couple top comments here before we get to the update. This first comment is by Antique Examination. Send in the divorce papers. One of two things will happen. He'll step up or you'll lose a lot of useless weight. And followed by Cajun, and let's all say this in the comments now.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
And here is the update from OP. Update. He called today and said he wants to file for a divorce. He doesn't want to go to marriage counseling. I'm heartbroken that he can't throw a 7-year relationship away like that. I still care for him, but I refuse to be treated this way. I asked him what his mother-in-law said about me to push him towards divorce, and he said it was because I didn't say thank you for paying for half the banquet fee for the wedding or giving them a thank you card after spending a weekend at the in-laws' house with my husband. Meanwhile, I've never received a thank you card from them, so if that's the worst they can come up with, so be it. I hope my soon-to-be ex-husband is looking forward to moving back in with mommy. And we have a top comment here by Matau98. It's sad to realize you wasted 7 years on a spineless dimwit, but with a bit of time, you'll realize that you dodged a huge bullet, heat-seeking missile. Cut your losses, mourn what you thought you had, but celebrate what you really lost. The mask fell off. So my mother-in-law and I got along at first. That all changed a couple days ago. A little backstory. I have a house that my husband owns and his brother is on a survivorship, which they decided before my husband and I met. There's 2 sister-in-laws and 3 brother-in-laws that live in the house, and my husband and I live in an apartment on the property. Ages ranging from 15 to 35, with me being the oldest at 35. My husband is the oldest of the children, and he's 32, and he raised his siblings as his mother dumped them on him and ran off with boyfriends. A couple of days ago, my mother-in-law announced that she was going to move in to take care of my youngest sister-in-law, who is 15. I knew this was happening and realized that then it was not a good idea, and as she's a bossy woman who psychologically abused her children. My husband rushed home from work, and 30 minutes later, she showed up. As I am a strong woman who doesn't have a problem defending herself and her husband, I knew I was going to confront her. I turned to her and told her she has a history of a lack of parenting to her children, dumping them on my husband, and he has to give up his childhood to take care of his siblings. As we were yelling at each other, she walked towards me and got in my face. My husband got in between and stood up to her. She started lying that she helped us get married, as she loaned him a car to get to the airport, as I was in another state, and we reminded her that it was her sister who helped us, and as she withheld the car at the last second because she didn't want him getting married. Then she goes into how she was in the hospital, and he wanted to run off and get married to me and not come and comfort her in the hospital. I pointed out that she was guilt-tripping, and she yelled saying I was guilt-tripping. As she accused my husband of stealing the house from his brother, he said that they had worked it out themselves. I said, how dare she accuse her son when she did things like get married to an ex-husband who stole property. She nearly went to punch me, but he stopped her. She later accused him of trying to punch her, which he would never do. She screamed at me, saying everyone in the house hates me, and no, they don't. She sat on the couch and said, well, I'm moving in. He said, what makes you think you're allowed to live here when you said you hate my wife and you are using the kids as leverage to be here? I have 2 kids here. Take them with you. She was escorted out, still screaming at me. The brother mentioned was called from work by her, upset at first at having heard her side, and then when we told him, he realized she was wrong. He went to tell her to go, and she cussed him out and made him feel worthless. She is coming back to pick up the kids and take them, but she likes to take things that are gifted. I'm thinking of taking the AC that was gifted to one of the boys and bringing it into the apartment and keeping it with the mini fridge she wants that's been here for a year, locking the apartment with me inside. There will be a police officer to oversee the transition. Any other ideas anyone has will be appreciated. I will also bring an RAC that's in the window of the apartment and locking the window so she can't climb in. I'm a little nervous about it, but thank God one of the kids is 3 months from being 18, in which case we will pick him up and he will come back with us. And we have a top comment here by Forward Plenty saying, take care of the legal things. Make sure you have a will. The property may be held in joint trust with rights of survivorship or may be some other vehicle. I would recommend that you set up a living trust so that bank accounts and property are transferred seamlessly if something happens to either of you. It should be absolutely clear that what happens with the property if your husband, his brother, and now that you are married are out of the picture. We have another to the immediate matters that most countries allow minors to be emancipated, which allows them to determine their own living arrangements. They can be emancipated at any age, really, but 15 is certainly old enough. With mother-in-law's history of abandoning her children with you, willing to be opening your home to them, most judges would agree. Talk to a lawyer. Make sure that the kids living with their mother have a way to contact you. A cell phone or a tablet is a good idea. In this comments by MyGirl326 saying, I would call CPS immediately. She has abandoned her children and she doesn't live there. Does she even have a residence to take them to? If possible, go to the nearest family court and get immediate custody of the minor children. Bring them with you so that way they can make their wishes known to the judge. Stop her in her tracks legally. Mother-in-law hates me and seems to be in love with her son? Paddle faster. I can hear the banjos! TLDR, mother-in-law has been picking on me for months, trying to put my partner against me, trying to put him in contact with his ex, and now being obsessive with him, touching him, posting him on social media to love songs, etc. Am I the crazy one, or is this weird as flip? No, you're not crazy, this is very creepy, but let's continue with the story to see what the hell is wrong with your mother-in-law. I've 23 female, have been with my partner 26 male for 2 years, and at first I had a rocky relationship with his mom. She was always commenting on my weight and picking on me if I tried my best to impress her and be kind to her. I would do favors for her, give her presents of things she said she liked, and she'd never say thank you, still finding things to complain about. Now, I wasn't doing these things to impress her per se, it's just how I was raised. If I ate dinner at her house, I would do my dishes and help with other cleaning up. She complimented my perfume, and I gave her the small one in my purse, as I had a bigger one back at home. After a few months, we got closer, and I actually enjoyed hanging out with her. My partner and I would go visit his parents, and I'd leave with his mom, going shopping, having lunch, watching movies, etc. It was so nice for a while, until it wasn't. One random afternoon, 10-ish months into our relationship, my partner left us alone in the living room, and he went to the store with his sibling. She started yelling at me that she doesn't like where our relationship is going anymore, and that I need to be doing more for him. She said we have no future and are not advancing in life, that I'm holding him back. From this point on, everything has been miserable. She's hated me ever since, and did the most disrespectful thing a few months ago. She traveled to their home country to visit family. Note, we are of the same heritage, so we have the same culture and customs, and there are not likely misunderstandings between us because of it. One morning, my partner and I are in bed, and he gets a FaceTime call from his mom. Not only did she hang out with his ex-girlfriend, she called him to put her on the phone. My heart shattered. I have never felt so disrespected in my whole life. Not only is that disrespectful to me, but also to our son. He obviously didn't speak to the girl, and we were both incredibly upset about the disrespect I've been shown. I see her at least 3 times a week, and she acts like everything's fine, but it's not. She's blocked me on social media. She's also been really touchy and disgusting with him recently. She always wants to go everywhere with us, even on dates, and any time we try to take a picture in public, just him and I, she'll intrude and push me out of the way or get in between us. She posts pictures of him all over on Facebook with love songs. She made her background picture a picture of just him, which is weird considering she has a husband and other children. She runs her fingers up and down his arms, thighs, and torso. She smacks his ass like an old lady at a Chippendale show. The other day, she even kissed him on the mouth. It's just very weird and gross to me. Luckily, I've had the support of my partner throughout all this. When she picks on me, he immediately shuts her down and throws it right back at her. He scolds her for how she disrespects me, behaves towards me, and for what she does to him as well. I just feel really disrespected and uncomfortable when I go over there. I'm her son's longest relationship, and I think that she's threatened because she sees how serious we are and finally sees her son in love, wanting to settle down. I'm not the first girl he's lived with, and we visit her almost every other day, so it's not like I stole him from her. He's a grown-ass man and is finally happy with someone he sees a future with. I guess I really just came in here to ask for advice or how to handle it. Or just confirmation that this is weird, and if it isn't weird and it is totally normal, tell me too. I'm here for feedback, not just to have people tell me what I want to hear. And we have a couple relative comments here. First one is by No Jean Graves saying, "Girl, what is he doing about this? It's emotional incest." And Emma Piano responds to that saying, "It's called enmeshment. Google it, OP. Your partner needs to recognize it and distance himself from her. If he doesn't, you need to leave. This type of relationship is deviant and is very unhealthy. It also points to other very serious problems with your partner." Yeah, but the thing is, the partner is sticking up for OP, and what the mother-in-law is doing is, it's very ewy. It's making me feel uncomfortable. The mother-in-law is Delulu Pro Max. Looks like we've reached the end of today's video, but fret not, I'll be back Monday with more Reddit stories just for you. Want to get notified of the next video? Tap that bell icon. Want to subscribe? Tap the button. It's completely free. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and until next time, catch you later, my